The man at the top of Israel's kill list, Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, is dead. He was a mastermind of the October 7th attacks, the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust. In the aftermath, Israel declared him a, quote, dead man walking, unquote. So what does Sinwar's death mean for Israel and its broader strategy? Joining me from Tel Aviv is Miri. She's a retired colonel in the Israeli Defense Forces and a fellow at the International Institute for Counterterrorism. Thanks for joining us, Miri. My first question is, does this achievement of a long-held goal that Israel really put front and center allow Prime Minister Netanyahu to declare victory and start negotiating in earnest for a ceasefire? Does it allow him to pivot?
It doesn't contradict Fareed, meaning this isn't about declaring victory. For Israelis, until the 101 hostages are home, there is no victory. Having said that, it does enable the opportunity to really get back to a negotiation which will bring back those 101. As long as Yahya Sinwar was that military terror leader of Hamas in the Gaza Strip, there was no way to go. He was not willing in any way to negotiate over the 101. Now there is that opportunity.
So what we had heard from many reports from the Qatari government was that Hamas had broadly agreed to some terms for a ceasefire and a release of hostages. Are you saying that from what you can tell that was not true and Sinwar was the obstacle?
I think that President Biden himself has said that also. Hamas is not just Yahya Sinwar, so let's be clear. He's dead and there will be somebody else in his stead. But he most definitely led a very hard-line idea, both in planning and executing the horrific attack, as you mentioned before, but from then on, having very hard stance when it came to the negotiation. Hamas that sit in Qatar, Hamas that sit outside, have slightly different opinions. This isn't about Hamas suddenly recognizing the state of Israel, but it's about a willingness to arrive at some kind of resolution that could work for both sides.
And what is then the continuing strategy? Because it seems to me that if this is such a landmark achievement, and if the decimation or the decapitation of Hamas and Hezbollah are the key metrics, then is it fair to ask, was it necessary to destroy 75% of all the buildings in Gaza and have all these civilian casualties if what was really what the real strategy was to get these people, most of them, all but Sinwar, I think, were gotten through very careful intelligence and strategic, very limited strikes. Did you need to destroy 3/4 of Gaza's buildings to achieve this?
Fareed, I'm going to push back a bit at the question itself, because at the end of the day, Hamas is the one, under Yahya Sinwar, as they're calling him, the executor and the mastermind of the Tufan flood, the El Aqsa Tufan flood on October 7th, and they are the ones who planned and executed to take out the immense amount of hostages that we're taking. They are the ones who built over years a subterranean underground system, not for the people of the Gaza Strip, to protect those Hamas terror fighters. And in that sense, what they built was defenses just for Hamas, and I don't know of another way, because you asked, did we need? Why did Hamas do this attack? Why are they holding the hostages? Why have they not let them go? Why have they allowed it to continue? I would ask Hamas, not Yahya Sinwar, who is dead, and in that sense, I will not miss him, and whoever comes in his stead, I'm going to ask them, why are they using all of the Gaza Strip as their protection? Why are they not letting the hostages out? Why are they acting as if all of this is not their own fault?
No, I get that. And of course, getting the hostages out through the ceasefire is clearly a central goal. But what I'm trying to get at is, what then is the broader goal? Because there are people in Israel who, as you know, who say, well, what we need is a kind of denazification of the entire Gaza Strip, of all Palestinians. I'm trying to get, how would that be achieved, and is all this bombing going to achieve that? Where does this go if this is not the point at which to stop?
So first of all, I'm with you. I would like to stop. I did not want this war. I want it to be over. I want the 101 hostages to be home. And my heart goes out to what has happened to any innocent civilian, any uninvolved civilian anywhere within this war as it's going on. What I want to approach in that sense are two different aspects. There's the military aspect. Hamas built under this Yahya Sinwar, and this is something that was done over many years, not in the last year, not in the year that Netanyahu came into power, over many years. They built an enormous, and I'm using this term not lightly, terror army. What do you do with a terror army? I don't have a good answer for that, and I don't think that anybody right now knows what to do with it. What Israel has done is trying systematically to destroy the terror army capability to prevent an October 7th attack. People are like, what? They did October 7th. You need to prevent their doing it again. I want a different education so that it doesn't seem okay for anybody to support what Hamas says, the destruction of Israel, that they write into their charter that Jews are pigs. That's the good part. They write worse things. I'd like them not to support Hezbollah, not to see those flags flying on U.S. campuses, let alone anywhere else in the world. I want a better future for the Palestinians, but what do you do against the terror army? You can't allow them to define what's going to be the next step. That would be a horrible message, not just for Israel, but for the entire world.
Miri, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Fareed, thank you for inviting me.